Happy Wednesday. Wednesday is the day ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet of perception. So perception, but also how we communicate. Are you communicating your desires? Are you communicating your needs? Are you communicating your boundaries? Are you holding others accountable? So this is huge right now because Chiron is in retrograde. Chiron is the planet of the wounded healer. And so being in retrogrades are always a review of whatever energy that planet carries. So Chiron, the wounded healer, this is about our deepest core wounds, our soul wounds, but also for the collective. So what wounds have you brought into your human experience that needs to be healed? And so Chiron being in retrograde, hello, beautiful Amanda. Thank you for that. So Chiron being in retrograde is the review. What is not working in your reality? What are you not communicating? And so healing wounds is always about communication. And so I talked about that a little bit yesterday, like Venus, becoming Venus and having this communication. Hello, Douglas. Having this communication with Mars, because Mars is this strong, fiery, masculine warrior, and Venus, the embodiment of perfection. But she is so unwaveringly powerful, and she knows it. She embodies that sensual abundance of feminine energy. And so she tells Mars, do not look away. This is how we're doing it. And so Chiron now wants to talk to his partner, Chariklo, and they're going to have this communication, this masculine, wounded masculine, looking to the feminine and saying, I can't heal this without you. And so really think about what parts of your feminine are you repressing? If you were to communicate to the masculine energy to heal you both, what would you need to say? What would you need to do? How would you need to move and behave differently in order to heal you both and to embody that unity where everything would be understood? Because you don't have to speak the language of the person that you're speaking to for them to understand when it's in its highest integrity and heart-centered. No translation is needed. So feel into that, because today is the day ruled by Mercury. This is a communication day. Amanda says, I've been feeling very sensual lately, but also all my wounds. Yes, our wounds are going to be amplified in this retrograde as long as AF because it's going to go until December. So we have plenty of time, but anything that you really dig into and heal in a retrograde, that's permanent upgrade. That's permanent upgrade. Why would you not want to do this work? And so my ascended masters that showed up today, Mercury, and I love this shit. Like, this is a kind of synchronicity that makes my soul smile. Wednesday is a day ruled by Mercury, and Mercury showed up. So I'm like, oh yes. Hello, Mercury. Mercury says, get a weight off your chest. Speak up with love and be heard. See, I am heard. So this is not like, I hope I'm heard. I hope that he can understand. I want to be understood. It's none of that, because all of that is futuristic language. We are speaking the language of now, present, possessive. I am understood. I am heard. He is attentive. He is listening to me. He understands me. We are communicating. We are healing. And so Archangel Zadkiel showed up. And Zadkiel is always telling me, teach as soon as I learn. And I do that. I do tend to do that. As soon as I get something new, when spirit gives me something, I'm like, I'm going to use this. As soon as I get it, I use it. And it's not mine to keep. Wisdom is not mine to hoard. And those in the highest path know that. It's not ours to keep. Nothing is ours to keep. And then this, I'm not gonna lie, is very triggering for me, Lady Nada, when she shows up. I no longer have a relationship with my sisters. They're very toxic. And my mother, who is also toxic, I allowed myself to maintain a relationship with her, but she did something very insensitive to me. And so I also did something. I said some things that actually were very true. They were in integrity, and it came from the deepest vulnerable self. They were all truths. So there's not a single Mother's Day card that says like you were a shitty mom. But this particular card says, because of the way that you loved me, I am what I am the woman I am. And so the other side of the card, of course, it just had pretty flowers and it was blank. So I filled it in. And I said, because of the way you loved me, I learned how to love myself better, which are all truths. But I turned her negative, her neglectful mothering. And the painful part was that I saw her mothering my sisters very differently. And so that's also a wound. So for Lady Nada to show up, where it's talking about mother and sister healing, usually I just want to be like, but I'm like, okay, whatever. I offer them compassion. So here, being witnessed by all of you, Wendy and Deborah deserve my compassion and love. And so I send it to them through the ether. And Audrey, my mother, I send her love and compassion. And I pray that they all heal themselves. But it is okay for me to not put myself in their hands. Okay? So this is something that we have to heal. There's a taboo around, right? Like blood is thicker than water, and that's not even the real saying. And so what we really need to do is look at it and say, I'm choosing me. I'm choosing me. And I can still love them from here, but it's really not possible for me to love them if I keep re-traumatizing myself by sharing space with them. So Amanda says, I feel like it's my sensuality that was so wounded. And so feeling my sensuality is healing the wounds, but brings back those painful memories. Very true. Okay, so this is the Eris wound too. Remember, she was neglected and really abandoned by her father because her brother was given favor, right? So that's the first wound. Do we find ourselves less than because we're women? And were we raised that way to even believe that? So then we're fighting to say, hey, we're not. And then too many women go on the wayside of that and they embody their masculine energy and call themselves feminists, but they're actually women running around in this masculine energy. And they're very angry, and I send them love too. But yes, our sensuality is wounded. It's suppressed. You know why? Because in that sexuality and sensuality, we are so immensely powerful. So of course they want to tap that down. Keep that under wraps. And then they make us feel ashamed of it. So I'm glad you're healing that, Amanda. Thank you. Lorena says, going through many phases of that quickly with my sisters and other. I love them unconditionally no matter what. And yes, I do love my sisters unconditionally. I am very glad that they are thousands of miles away, but I do love them from here. And your mother. Lorena says, I choose me, and when it's safe to share space with them, I discern it now. When before I felt obligated. Exactly. So even when I fly back east and I'm at my mother's, and it's been years, like I really am not interested in going again, um, for other reasons, because they're really living in this dark space, fear-based, and it's just not my frequency. Um, so when I fly back east, I treat my sisters as if they are my mom's church friends. Hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Very cordial, but, and so I'm able to keep that, the boundaries and my shields up instead of trying to process their shit. Amanda says yes, the Aries wound. So that is also a sensuality wound, Lorena, around our sisters and our mother. So Amanda, you know, like Lady Nada, thank you for gifting me that perception of the feminine healing, the sensuality, not holding shame around my power and sensuality. So, this came up, and I love when this card comes up. And so I'm really working through not discrediting these kind of cards when they show up in my spreads, like, oh yeah, right, whatever, here we go. Like, what am I gonna get? A piece of chocolate today? Because I never consider like the biggest part of this. So the biggest part says travel and new romance. So, okay. Moonlight. I love the card though, it's beautiful. And we're coming into this full moon, so that moon is like exploding. And it's a time for healing. Yes, I know that. Like deep healing for myself and lost lands. So this is really cool because lost lands talks about me reclaiming all of my soul gifts. And I've talked about this many times because I know that this is my last human inception. This is my last life. And I've known that since I was a child. And so I do have access to all of my past lives. And I do tend to, I call it a soul glitch. I'll jump timelines and be not Sherry. And it's kind of discerning sometimes and disorienting. But what this card says is to call them all back. That I am supposed to be doing that, like calling back all my gifts, and that nothing is new for me. Like this life is the culmination of all my lives. And I've always felt that. So I'm doing a lot of deep karmic healing, not only for myself, but for the collective, so that I can tie up loose ends, I guess, for the closure of it. And so the sacred geometry that showed up today is the invitation. And you could see this beautiful intertwined meshing. And a lot of it is interlinking triangles, but it opens this diamond portal. And so the diamond portal gives me access to all of the ancient wisdom that is my divine birthright. And so it's the invitation into that. So definitely we'll be going into meditation with this image for sure. And I'll hold it close so you can also see it. And then the deep knowing. This card is basically like saying, I already know. And to honor the intuition and my discernment because it is keen. And to not discredit that because of pain. So if I allow myself to go into the feels and the discernment of it, I won't be misled. So it says. And then amethyst. And I love when amethyst comes up because I have a shit ton of amethyst. But amethyst is my ally today. Amethyst helps me with my divine connection. So that's really cool for the lost lands and invitation for amethyst to show up so that it can facilitate that connection. So this is an amethyst chevron sphere. Isn't that pretty? I love that. If you hold it like that, it's just like a huge eyeball. See? I love that though. It's so pretty. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, Amanda, I know you love all crystals. This is an amethyst spirit cactus. Isn't that pretty? And that's from beautiful Vero. She doesn't ever jump on these lives. This is from my beautiful soul sister Becca, Colorado. But this, I think she got it in Hawaii. This is a Veracruz amethyst. Isn't that amazing? These tiny, super clear amethyst cluster. It's like, whoa, super powerful. Aren't they beautiful? Like perfect. And see that etching? So crystals actually hold knowledge. They are cosmic volumes. This is an amethyst. This is a natural amethyst chevron point. What else did I bring over here? My amethyst celestial point. Isn't that beautiful? It's like magic. This is a Super 7, but I love this because it looks like a cathedral door. It's just magic. And this has been next to my bed forever. And so it has actually grown. And so when I tell people this, they're like, yeah, right. And I'm like, no, seriously, like next to my bed, this used to be completely flat. This little amethyst chunk, but now I have all of these protruding points that are growing. They're literally growing. So it's very happy next to my bedside, and so he will continue to stay there. I think that's all I have here that I brought. Oh, this big baby. This is a natural amethyst point. Leave me where I'm at. Isn't it pretty? So that's amethyst, that beautiful lavender. And I always considered amethyst to be, thank you, Amanda, like the jack of all trades when it comes to crystals, because it is good for everything. It is calming, it is elevating, and it's quartz. So quartz is amplifying and it works through all the chakras. But depending on the personality of the quartz, so like rose quartz starts in the heart and then works its way out. Amethyst works in the crown and works down. So that's amethyst. And so the culmination of today's spread, isn't that pretty? These cards are so pretty. Is she offers the sacred wine, so drink. And the Rumi deck really gets me in my feels. But this card basically says, you are invited to come and sip the divine wines. Take it, and if you want to bring guests, bring them. And they may be scared at the way that you're talking and how you're so giddy and full of life and vitality that they may say, I'm sorry, I'm busy, I need to count my fingers and toes. Or I'm washing my hair, but you go ahead and dance and sip that wine anyway because you are the honored guest of Divine Spirit. And so I love that because this really made me remember the meditation where Spirit said, close your eyes and open your hands, right? So this is not me shaking the present and saying, what is it? What do I get? Because I will never be able to guess because it's all infinite possibilities. It's unfathomable. So when you close your eyes and open your hands, you know that you're receiving, but you have to surrender into the receiving. Yeah, Troy, you're coming to the party. Yes. So this is how we move into receiving. always try to think of that. Okay, I'm closing my eyes, opening my hand. I'm not going to try to guess what it is. I don't even want to be prepared for what it is, because I want it to be so genuine, my receiving, that if I am moved to emotion, I cry. If I'm moved to feel giddy, I laugh. If I sing, I'll sing. Whatever moves through me, I'm going to let it move through me, because I am in full surrender. I let go of control and I do it. So that's the message of today. Thank you all for sharing your, what he says, being open and knowing that some may be closed and it's still all okay. Yes, still all okay. Beautiful divine brother. Thank you. Even if they're closed, it's still okay. Thank you for sharing your most valuable currency with me, your time and your energy. I so appreciate you. I see you. I feel you. I love you. Please forgive me for any disharmony that I have caused. I am sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you for this opportunity. Amanda says, I love this because I remember being so giddy and happy. I had no shame in receiving. Oh, yes. As a little girl. I remember that too. That's why, okay, what is it? I don't care to know. Just thank you. Thank you. How can it get better? That's the question I like to ask of Divine, to keep myself in that receiving mode. This is phenomenal. How can it get any better? So that Spirit can actually show you. I send love to your pain, Troy. And I hold you in that. I love you. Thank you.